This is the kind of report that will likely trigger Joe Biden to take a victory lap. Even though we know that inflation is eating into people's savings, but you don't see that in this number.
I'll share a stat with you here, Maria, and it really is incredible. The jobs count has now beaten estimates 14 of the last 17 months. So we thought we were going to get a number here. It ends up being here. In this case, in the month of May, we're talking about 140,000 more jobs added than was expected. It is amazing how the estimates, people keep getting the estimate wrong.
You know, there are certain things one looks forward to in life. The smell of fresh cut grass, a cold pint on a Friday, Marge getting laughed at after asking for decorum.
The members are reminded to abide by decorum of the House.
But there's few things I enjoy more than watching Fox try to spin a clearly good jobs report live on air.
Hey.
Well, good morning to you, Bill and Dana. This is a good report, no doubt about it. 339,000 jobs, much better than expected. Bill, what I like about this report is the fact that the jobs created that we are looking at are high-paying jobs. You're talking about jobs in business and professional services, in healthcare. The government jobs, by the way, also up 56,000. So you've got jobs that are higher paying than leisure and hospitality, which has been where much of the bulk of the job creation has been. Leisure and hospitality. That's not the case this month. So that's a good story here, as well as a good story that it's better than expected overall. What I don't like about this report is the fact that unemployment is rising. The unemployment rate is now up to 3.7%. We also have a participation rate of 62.6%. What does that tell you? People do not want to go back to work. You see lots of these small businesses unable to open, have to shorten their hours because they can't find the workers to come back to work. I'm not crazy about the wage number. Wages, average hourly earnings rose 4.3%. Okay number, but still lower than inflation. In other words, inflation is still cutting into people's ability, and they're cutting into savings because they can't afford the inflation. All of this strong report that we're talking about has helped markets this morning, as well as the passage of the debt bill, of course, which, of course, investors reacted to right out of the gate this morning. But we now have an expectation that the Federal Reserve will take a pause in its next meeting. You've got the next Fed meeting on June 13th and June 14th. 75% of market participants say the Fed will likely take a pause, not raise rates again, and resume the raising of rates in the July meeting. We'll see if that changes as a result of this report. I'll point out that we get a very important inflation report out the day before we hear from the Fed on June 13th. The Consumer Price Index is out. So overall, good report. Some things to nitpick about. Certainly what I'm worried about right now is the tightening of credit.
Fox host Maria Bartiromo struggles to report on most things in a dignified manner as is. I mean, we all remember her best effort to get excited over the informant that never was.
Did you just say that the whistleblower or the informant is now missing?
Well, we're hopeful that we can find the informant. Now, remember, these informants are kind of in the spy business. So they don't make a habit of being seen a lot or being high profile or anything like that. But they won't answer our questions.
Are there whistleblowers or informants missing right now?
The 9 of the 10 people that we've identified that have very good knowledge with respect to the Bidens, they're one of 3 things, Maria. They're either currently in court, they're currently in jail, or they're currently missing.
But watching her search for reasons not to be excited about yet another very strong jobs report under President Biden is just pleasant Friday viewing.
This is the kind of report that will likely trigger Joe Biden to take a victory lap. Even though we know that inflation is eating into people's savings, but you don't see that in this number.
Oh, from a political perspective, I would imagine we'll see the president in front of microphones this morning, obviously touting this number. But I'll share a stat with you here, Maria, and it really is incredible. The jobs count has now beaten estimates 14 of the last 17 months. So we thought we were going to get a number here. It ends up being here. In this case, in the month of May, we're talking about 140,000 more jobs added than was expected. It is amazing how the estimates, people keep getting the estimate wrong.
Well, listen, this is good news for American families, isn't it, Alfredo?
Well, it is, but it isn't, Maria, because, again, you still have inflation eating away if you look at real wages.
But she's not alone, because whenever a strong jobs report is announced, well, they send up the Hunter Biden signal and pull out all the stops to deflect away from the reality that the man they lambast on air for falling or allegedly not being able to put on his pants is continuously working to preserve and boost the economy that they want to tear apart.
The latest jobs report shows employers added 339,000 jobs last month.
Blowing through expectations for May.
That is well above even the pace that we had seen in the month of April, which was revised up to 294,000.
The jobs count has now beaten estimates 14 of the last 17 months.
That's the 29th straight month of job growth in America.
There's really no other way to interpret this report as consistent with a labor market which remains incredibly strong.
Which, when they lean into the ad hominems, it actually speaks more to their incompetence than his.
Biden fell flat on his face.
You can't fall. You just can't fall.
Maybe his wife and all those people pushing him to run for a second term are guilty of elder abuse.
But that was a bad fall.
People fall. Older people fall more.
I'm surprised they don't have video of Kamala sticking out her leg to try to trip him.
Look how Trump walks up the stairs, and now look how you walk up the stairs. I could do this all day long.
A stairlift shouldn't be a last resort. With an Acorn stairlift in your home.
It's reckless for him to be president right now.
This old fella who can't put his pants on is running rings around you. I think that says more about you than it does him.
I get that age is completely reasonable issue. It's in everybody's mind. And everyone, by everyone I mean the New York Times. Headline, Biden's advanced age is a big issue. Trump's, however, is not. You call me old. I call it being seasoned.
We've got pride. Do you? We're celebrating Pride Month with a brand new collection of tanks, V-necks, and more. Go to store.MeidasTouch.com right now and grab yours. Oh, and don't forget that koozie.